Okay, nobody knows that there's not too much information out about the Gp1200Rs. The gauges are no longer available, and as you all know, you can't find them. So what I did, I'm gonna have my camera girl follow me. So they do come apart. So this is what they look like when they come apart. This is what they look like inside. So this part will go through here, this pigtail will go through here all the way up, and that gasket goes on here, and then that will screw. This will go and sit inside there. This actually sits on here, and there's 4 screws on it, and then the back will connect. You can take these apart. These do come apart. As you can see, they sit in there like that, and they sit in there, and they'll be glued together. So you have to slowly pry them apart, and there's a gasket in there. And then after you get them apart, this is the old board. You can see how bad it looks. This is the old screen. Now, the cool thing about these things, when you do take them apart, the screen is not attached to the motherboard. It reads off of these right here, and it sits on there, and then that's how it reads the screen. So if you ever want to replace the screen, you can replace the screen, but you have to take the unit apart. The first time I took it apart, I cut it because I didn't know what I was doing at first. So I took the Dremel with a small tiny blade on it, and I cut it all the way across here and all the way around, and it misses the motherboard because the motherboard will sit off it about that far, so you won't even hit the motherboard when you do cut it. So after I cut it, that's what it originally looked like, and then it would sit on here like that, and it sinks in there and it glues. Well, after I cut it, then I realized I can pop that out. So when I got to my replacement, that's when I slowly took it apart and actually got it apart. So now when I put this back together, there's also, you guys know about the button that always breaks right here. Well, there's a little rubber in there that goes in there. It sits in there like that. So a lot of the moisture you'll get moisture, and then you have this piece here that will sit on there, and that's your button, and it'll hit the motherboard. And then you have another piece that goes on here, this piece here that protects more moisture, that sits like that. And then you have this O-ring here, and then you're going to have the motherboard sits on that like that and just screws together. So when you guys are cutting it, or if you can pry it, sometimes you can heat it up and snap it apart without doing any damage, and then that slides through, and then that connects to there, and then just glue this back together and clamp it and let it sit overnight. But the easy way to get these off is just like I said, and then that comes off there. There's a gasket on here, there's a gasket on here, there's a gasket on there with the button, and then you can get new stickers off of eBay. I think they're like 25 bucks. You can just, if your sticker's bad, you can buy new stickers for it. And then on here, there's little twists. You just twist these little things here. There's a couple of them, like 5 of them. And after you twist them, that will take the screen off it, like that. and then this piece is your part of your screen. So your screen sits in here like that. There's nothing connects it to the motherboard. It's all done by pressure. This sits on here, and then this will sit right on top of these, and that's how it reads it. And then after you get it back together again, like I did on here, I just put the new screen in there, and then I cleaned this all up a little better with some sandpaper, and then I just turned those back on and pushed the pressure back on it. And then this will sit, this is the bad one, this will sit on here. And then you got your button, you got your gasket, got this gasket, and this got a gasket too. And then these line up to there. And your button, your light, there's your light for your warning, and then there's your button over here that you press that for that. And you can see how bad they get. They get really garbaged and they go bad, and the motherboards they go bad all the time. So after you guys get it all together, just make sure that you have this in place. Have this in place, because you can't pop this off. This will pop off. It's only on there with a little glue, and then you can just re-glue it down with some crazy glue, and then that sits in place. There's the new motherboard. So, and then you just sit it. You can see how it sits nice and snug, and nothing's touching. Just pressure on the motherboard to the LCD screen. That's it. There's no soldering or nothing. A lot of the guys they'll charge $150, $200 to replace your lens when you guys can do it yourself. And then once you're done, you'll have, like I said, make sure this gasket's in place, and then when you put the new piece on, it's going to sit right on top of that. So just put some glue on here. You see where the old glue was? Very thin. There's a little glue on here, very thin. And then after you put it together, just clamp it, let it sit overnight, and then you'll have a really good, this will be really good for you now. I mean, my button's broken, but the button works, but it's just the cover. So I'm gonna get the sticker for it. It's like $24 or $25 on eBay, and then I'll have a new one. So that's pretty much it. So good luck. Good luck.